Where to begin? Hakurei Reimu. Hakurei Reimu. Shrine Maiden of Paradise, maintainer of the great Hakurei barrier, and above all else, exterminator of troublesome yokai. Hakurei Reimu is the main character out of the entire series, excluding the fighting games and the spin-off games. Reimu has several abilities, such as the ability to fly in the skies, although in Genzokyo this may not mean much as pretty much everyone can fly. However, Reimu's ability extends far beyond that. She is capable of phasing in and out of existence, or, as described by Marisa, floating away from reality at times. Reimu can use this power to teleport very short distances, but rarely seems to be aware that she is capable of doing so. In the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, it has been stated that Reimu can control natural spirits. However, this ability has not been listed in canon since. As she is the Hakurei Shrine Maiden, Reimu can use the sacred Hakurei Yin-Yang orbs, and is trained in yokai extermination techniques. She can also perform basic blessings. Reimu is also capable of invoking Genzokyo's native gods into her body. However, she isn't well trained enough to do so reliably. She's often called upon to investigate the strange occurrences throughout Genzokyo. For ages, the Hakurei Shrine has been the border between the real world and Genzokyo. As Reimu is the only Shrine Maiden of the Hakurei Shrine, and one of the main incident solvers of Genzokyo, she displays great aptitude with working with magical barriers. Among her techniques are barriers that explode, push enemies or herself, or act as portals for her other attacks. During the events in Subterranean Animism, it was shown that people could communicate with Reimu through her yin-yang orbs. This confused the bosses as they could see no one that Reimu was obviously talking to. Now let's have a quick look at all of Reimu Hakurei's sprites throughout the ages. Hakurei Reimu in Highly Responsive to Prayers, Reimu in Story of Eastern Wonderland, her Phantasmagoria of a Dimensional Dream sprite, Lotus Land Stories sprite, and her sprite in Mystic Square. That just about does it for the PC 98 series. Now let's move on to when Zune broke away from amusement makers. Reimu in The Embodiment of Scarlet Devil, her sprite in Perfect Cherry Blossom. This is Immaterial and Missing Powers sprite of Reimu. Reimu in Imperishable Night, Phantasmagoria of Flower Views Reimu. Her Mountain of Faith sprite, Reimu in Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. Subterranean Animism's version of Reimu. Reimu in Undefined Fantastic Object, the 10 Desires sprite, Reimu's sprite used in Hopeless Masquerade, and finally, Hakurei Reimu in Double Dealing Character. Now it's identical to the 10 Desires sprite. Reimu has pretty average movement speed when unfocused. The same goes for focus mode too. Like the other characters in the series, Reimu comes with 2 shot types when starting a new game. Those types are Homing and Unlimited Penetration. The Danmaku used in Unlimited Penetration is not slowed down by any individual sprites, so they will pass through the fairy or enemy you are fighting, damage them, and then stop at the edge of the screen. This is useful for quickly damaging opponents. As I have said before, you have 2 shot types, one being Unlimited Penetration, the other being Homing. Homing needs very little explanation. As you might guess, some of the Danmaku you fire will home in on your opponent. This is very useful to people who like to move around the screen a lot and try and get a lot of grazes, as you don't really need to focus on where your enemy might be, just where their Danmaku is going to be. Remember when I said there was only 2 types of shot available to you? Disregard that. Whenever you were playing 10 Desires, you got to choose your character, but not your shot type. This was because you got both shot types! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you got Homing and you got Unlimited Penetration! In Subterranean Animism, you got 3 shot types. The fighting games generally portray Reimu as having average movement speed and pretty high attack. She often uses her Gohei for her melee attacks, and in some cases she even uses a Hakurei portal, which both damages and transports your opponent elsewhere. Or sometimes yourself. She uses paper charms for ranged attacks, which do moderate damage and have great range. Her full name is Reimu Hakurei. Hakurei means something along the lines of esteemed companion. Haku means wide or exposition, while Rei means lovely, graceful or beautiful. Her first name, Reimu, is a relevant Japanese word that refers to a divine revelation made through a dream. Reimu has been described by Zune as having a straightforward yet easygoing attitude towards things. Also, she appears to have a shoot first, ask questions later kind of approach to yokai extermination, meaning that she'll exterminate them regardless of what they're doing. Reimu has next to no information regarding the god that resides in her shrine, only that there is one and it's not doing much. As the Hakurei shrine is often infested by yokai in canon, not many visitors come and so Reimu doesn't get very many donations, so she's portrayed as being a poor Miko. Zune keeps changing the skin tone of Reimu over the years. There are so many theories, but they all come back to the same point. She's an undead zombie of evil. Oh yes, and we mustn't forget the most important thing about her character. Her armpits. Seriously, she's even been called Armpit Miko. I mean, come on guys, what's so attractive about armpits? What, so this does it for you?